All right, well, Arise News analyst Dayo joins us now to share his thoughts on the decision of the Senate to approve the death penalty for convicted drug traffickers in Nigeria and how effective that could be given the experience of other nations. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale, and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure of being here, Suja.
Right. Well, before we get into it, let's maybe talk about how this decision was reached. We saw the objections, especially that one by Senator Adams Oshomole, who felt like a yay or a nay is not the way to determine life or death. How do you feel about the process with which the Senate used?
I like the process. I like the process. We can see that Oshomole feels very strongly, and Ali Dume too feels very strongly. You may not believe it. I see through the spectacles of religion and faith, and I will explain. You see, I was reading an article recently on why people commit suicide. Why people commit suicide, and it was revealed in that research that people who go to church or people who have faith, you get me, rarely commit suicide. It was a scientific research, I think Johns Hopkins University or something like that. Now, if you look at the impact of drug trafficking, you see, it leads to crime, it leads to diseases, it leads invariably to people wanting to commit suicide. But you see, it's the criminal part of it that is more preponderant on our side here. In the West, is the suicide rate that is making them fight drug trafficking as seriously as we are doing. But because of their own faith, the preponderance is for life imprisonment. But you see, if you look at the nations of the world that have no doubt about life imprisonment on the matter, they are mostly Islamic states. Iran, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, Sahel. And of course, China. China is a native state, but death penalty, even for ordinary petty crimes. But you see, my take on this, given the vibrancy of this opposition, my take is that I will not take any side, and I will elucidate on why. See, the death penalty or the life imprisonment should be dependent on the gravity of the crime or the potential for that crime to cause havoc in society. Let the courts decide that. But let the two be in the books. Luckily, we are in the Senate now. They said in the House of Representatives, they opted for life imprisonment. So it's not a done deal. They still have to negotiate because they are going to make laws. The Senate cannot make law in isolation. The House of Representatives cannot. The two must agree and put the law in the books. Fortunately, we see you have the life imprisonment, which is a deterrent on its own. But this one, toughening the law that Ali Dume is saying, is to increase the deterrence, so to make it unattractive for anybody to want to deal with drug trafficking. I leave it like that for now.
Well said, Mr. Sobowale. And of course, you rightly pointed out that this is not a done deal yet. The Senate and the House of Reps must agree. Right. But from what we saw earlier on, there was a lot of division. Could you care to elaborate on the unintended consequences that could arise if this is implemented?
Now, I like that question, and I will face it squarely. You see, religion matters in this thing. Religion matters. You could see the seriousness with which Oshomole was talking. And you could see, if you look at the speakers that oppose it on a technical ground, it's not as if they say should have raised this point earlier and not now. So, under such circumstances, I will expect when the Senate President is on seat, if they reopen it, you see a more elaborate and more vibrant discussion that will give them time to say why they are on this side or on that side. But as it is, that's how I see it. You see, religious differences are creeping into our laws. You get me? It's like when, okay, I mentioned it, when this ECOWAS and Niger Republic and ECOWAS wanted to move in, we were stopped on grounds of culture and religion. You get me? Coming from the north. And see what we have not been able to do with Niger. I read in the news, Benin Republic did not allow some goods meant for Niger from China to pass through their territory. Because after ECOWAS lifted the sanctions, Niger did not allow trucks to come into the Benin Republic. And Niger is landlocked. Yeah? That was why Buhari was trying to build something, a train right up to Niger, so that they can come to the Atlantic. But when they fought us now, they are going through Benin. But Benin is obviously now braver than Nigeria in implementing the sanctions of ECOWAS. So the president that has put his foot down. So they are talking about it now. So religion matters in these things, and it's creeping. It's not in a hurry, but it's creeping into our body politic, whether we like it or not. And that's what we have just seen.
That's a very insightful analysis, Mr. Sobowale. Thank you so much.